Hey, welcome to Unsolved Shadows. We are Regina Caballero, Fernanda Labrado, Daniela Jaime, Sofia Islas, and Larissa Valenzuela. This is where we talk about all those crimes that just don't have answers. The ones that keep you up at night wondering what really happened. No neat endings, no justice, just the mysteries, the clues, and all the theories people throw out there. Let's get into it. Alright, let's talk about one of the most famous unsolved cases of all time. Jack the Ripper. You've probably heard the name, right? It's like the OG true crime mystery. But honestly, the more you dig into it, the weirder it gets. Like, this dude, or whoever it was, just disappeared into the air after terrifying London in 1888. So, here's the setup. Imagine this. It's the late 1800s in Whitechapel, East London. The streets are rough, it's overcrowded, and poverty is everywhere. Then, out of the nowhere, these brutal murders start happening. 5 women, at least officially, are killed. And the way it's done, so freaking horrifying. This wasn't just someone losing control. It felt calculated, almost like the killer wanted to send a message. And the letters, from hell, remember that one? It's probably the creepiest piece of true crime evidence ever. But was it even real, or was some random just trolling the police? Nobody knows. And that's the thing. Nobody knows anything for sure about this case. No identity, no solid motives, nothing. Just theories, a lot of them. Adding to the mystery of the affair is the fact that the several letters were sent by the killer to the London Metropolitan Police Service, also known as the Scotland Yard, taunting officers about his gruesome activities and speculating on murders to come. Various theories about Jack the Ripper's identity have been produced over the past several decades, which include claims accusing the famous Victorian painter Walter Sickert, a Polish migrant, and even the grandson of Queen Victoria. Since 1888, more than 100 suspects have been named, contributing to widespread folklore and ghoulish entertainment surrounding the mystery. But it was a doctor, someone in the royal family, a woman. People even think that might be multiple killers working together like the movie Scream. I mean, it's insane how much guessing is still going on over 100 years later. But somehow, Jack the Ripper became a legend, almost a character in a horror story or something like that. And honestly, that's the part of what bugs me. These were real people who lost their lives. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Edwards, and Mary Jane Kelly. Their stories kind of get lost in all the hype about who did it. And when Jack the Ripper's murder suddenly stopped in the fall of 1888, London citizens wanted answers that would not come, even more than a century later. The ongoing case, which has spawned an industry of books, films, TV series, and historical tours, has met with a number of hindrances, including lack of evidence, a gamut of misinformation, and false testimony, and tight regulations by the Scotland Yard. Jack the Ripper has been the topic of news stories for more than 130 years, and will likely continue to be for decades to come. So, yeah, basically, Jack the Ripper isn't just an unsolved mystery. It's a reminder of how brutal people can be and how sometimes we'll never know why. But what do you think? Who was Jack the Ripper? Or better yet, do you think we'll ever find out?
I like to share the disturbing tale of the Black Dahlia case. The Black Dahlia case is one of the most infamous and blatant crimes in Los Angeles history. In January 1947, 20-year-old Elizabeth Short's brutally murdered body was discovered in a vacant lot. The victim had suffered severe facial and body injuries. The subsequent investigation was one of the largest and most publicized of this time, with over 115 suspects questioned and thousands of leads pursued. However, the case remained unsolved. The Black Dahlia moniker originated from the wisdom of Elizabeth Short's body, with a forced smile and raised brow, resembling a black dahlia flower. The case has inspired numerous books, films, and documentaries, fascinating and intriguing people to this day. Part of the research was 3 points. One is that police were never able to identify the murderer. There were many theories and suspects, but no concrete evidence led to a conviction. The second point is several witnesses said that saw Elizabeth Short in several bars and restaurants before his death, but the calls were inconsistent. The third point is one aspect that added to the mystery were the letters that the murderer already sent to the police, which included newspaper clippings and details that only the murderer could know. With this information, we have two hypotheses and theories. One of these are over the years, various theories emerged about who could have committed the crime. Some suggest that he was a serial killer, others point to a possible motive related to jealousy or a hate crime. And as a fun fact, Elizabeth Short was given the nickname the Black Dahlia by the press. This was inspired by the popular film at the time, The Blue Dahlia, in 1946. The press associated her with the name and it became iconic after her death. The crime quickly gained massive media attention due to this brutality and the mystery surrounding the killer identity. It remains us an unsolved case to this day. So, in this time, we don't have any main details and we don't know about the identity of the murderer. And I personally think that the Black Dahlia case was one of the most terrific stories and case in these years. So we need to take care of yourself because she has only 22 years old. So she was very young when she died. And the reports say that short prints actually appeared twice in the FBI massive collection. More than 100 million were on file at the time. First, she had applied for a job as a clerk at the commissary of the Army's Camp Cookie in California in January 1943. Second, she had been arrested by the Santa Barbara police for underage drinking 7 months later. The Bureau also had her mug short in its fields and provided it to the press. In support of LA police, the FBI ran record checks on potential suspects and conducted interviews across the region. Based on early suspicions that the murderer may have had skills in discretion because the body was so cleanly cut. So agents were also asked to check out a group of students at the University of Southern California Medical School. But who killed a Black Dahlia still a mystery. So just imagine that you have a friend or a sister or or a daughter or a mom or whatever, and she go away just for pursue her dream, and then you have a notice that she was murdered by a person that do you know because the case was unsolved. And I think this is very rare case because i I don't know how you can solve this crime in those years. And I think the murderer, maybe he or she can be a serial killer, but she must be very intelligent because he or she hasn't any evidence of the murder. And yeah, he is a very difficult case.
My name is Larissa, and the story is the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. On May 3, 2007, 3-year-old Madeleine McCann disappeared from her family's holiday apartment in Praia da Luz. a seaside resort in Portugal. Madeline was sleeping in a bedroom with her younger twin siblings while her parents, Gary and Kay McCann, dined at a nearby restaurant with friends. The group had a system in place to check on the children periodically, but around 10 p.m., when Kate McCann went to check, Madeline was gone. The bedroom window was open, and the sight that greeted Kate would soon become a nightmare no parent could imagine. From the very beginning, the investigation was fraught with challenges. Portuguese police initially suspect a break-in, but evidence seemed inconsistent. Later, attention shifted to Madeline's parents, Kate and Gary, after the police claimed there was inconsistency in their accounts. At the same time, media coverage was relentless. The McCanns were both supported and beloved by the public, with tabloid speculation fueling theories that range from abduction by stringing to accidental death and cover-up by the parents. Private investigations were hard, and high-profile appeals brought international attention to Madeline's case. Even celebrities like J.K. Rowling and David Beckham joined the four to keep her name in the public eye. Despite this, let's dry up, and the case seems to stall. In 2011, the UK's Scotland Yard launched Operation Rage to re-examine the case. Over the years, they identified new persons of interest and explored the theory of a possible burglary gone wrong. In 2020, German authorities announced a major development. They identified a suspect, Christian Bruckner, a convicted criminal with a history of child-related crimes. He was in prior delusions at the time of Madeline's disappearance, but as of now, no definitive link has been proven, and the case remains open. Despite these developments, Madeline's fate is still unknown. Her parents continue to hope that one day they'll find out what happened to their little girl. So, why does this case continue to capture the world's attention? Perhaps it's a heartbreaking image of a little girl stolen away in the night, or maybe it's the sheer misery of it all. Was Madeline abducted by a stranger? Could she still be alive? Perhaps unaware of her true identity? Or, as some conspiracy theories suggest, is the truth much darker and closer to home? Cases like Madeleine McCann's remind us of the fragility of life and the unanswered questions that haunt us. As of today, her case remains one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in modern history. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Madeleine McCann case.
Hello, my name is Sofia, and today I'm gonna talk about the mystery of the Zodiac Killer. Our story begins on December 1968 in California, USA. Two teenagers, Betty Lau Jensen and David Faraday, were on a date. They parked their car on a quiet road. Suddenly, someone attacked them. Both of them lost their lives. This was the first crime connected to the Zodiac. In July 1969, the Zodiac attacked again. This time, he targeted another young people, Darlene Ferrin and Mike McGill. They were sitting at the parking lot when the Zodiac approached to shoot them. Darlene sadly died, but Mike survived and gave the police a description of the attacker. He said the man looked to be in his late 20s or early 30s, with a short hair and glasses. But the Zodiac didn't stop there. In September 1969, he attacked young people, Brian Hadley and Cecilia Spert.
at the lake. This time, he wore a hood and a strange symbol on his chest. He tied them up and hurt them with a knife. Cecilia passed away later in the hospital, but Brian survived. In October 1969, the Zodiac attacked a taxi driver named Paul Satin in San Francisco. This was his last unknown murder. After this, the Zodiac became even more famous because of his strange behavior. What made Zodiac so unique was the letter he sent to the police and the newspapers. His letters, he called himself the Zodiac and used a strange symbol, a circle with a cross. He also sent a puzzles or with a secret message. He wanted people to solve the chips to understand his plans. One of these letters said, "I like killing people because it's so much fun." He claimed to have hurt 37 people, but the police only confirmed 5 deaths and two survivals. Many people worked hard to solve his puzzles. In fact, one of the ciphers was finally solved in 2020. But more than 50 years later, even though the police they tried their best, they never caught the Zodiac. Over the years, people have guessed who he might be. Some think it was a man named Arthur Late Allen, but there was not enough proof, and others believe the Zodiac could be someone else entirely. The case remains open, and the Zodiac identity is still mystery. So, what do we know about the Zodiac? He's smart, scary, and loved attention. He wanted people to fear him, and he made sure his crimes talk about for years. But one thing is clear: his story still fascinates people today. Thank you a lot, and goodbye.
Hi, my name is Maria Fernanda Labrado Chacon, and I'm going to talk about the Lisa Lam case. The Lisa Lam case is about a 21-year-old Canadian student who was found dead in a water tank on the roof of the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles in 2013. Her death became famous because of the strange and mysterious events surrounding it. What happened? Elisa was traveling alone in the US and stayed at the Cecil Hotel. She disappeared on January 31, 2013. The last time anyone saw her was in an elevator, where security footage showed her acting very strangely. In the video, she is pressing multiple buttons, stepping in and out of the elevator, and waving her arms as if talking to someone. But no one else was there. After 2 weeks of searching, her body was found in one of the hotel's rooftop water tanks. Guests had been complaining about low water pressure and odd tasting water, which led to the discovery. Her death shocked everyone and raised many questions. What did the police say? The police investigated and ruled her death as an accidental drowning. They say Elisa probably climbed into the water tank by herself. However, there were some confusing details, like that the rooftop door was locked and only staff had the keys. So, how did she get up there? The tank was hard to open, and it's unclear how she could have done it alone. The elevator footage of her acting strangely made people think there was more to the story. There were so many theories, like that it was an accident. Some people believed that she had a mental health episode because she had been diagnosed with a bipolar disorder and she climbed into the tank, not realizing it was very dangerous. Others think that it was a murder. Others think that someone else was involved because it's hard to explain how she got onto the roof and into the tank by herself. Or others think that it was a supernatural or paranormal thing because of the video and the untold history of strange events. Some people think it's something paranormal happened. Why is it so famous? The case became a big mystery because of the creepy elevator video and the many unanswered questions. The Cecil Hotel itself has a dark history of crime and violence, which made the case even more interesting. Documentaries like the Netflix series The Crime Scenes, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotels, have kept the story alive. To this day, no one knows exactly how or why Elisa Lam ended up in that water tank, making her death one of the most puzzling mysteries in the recent history. This is the end of the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it listening to these interesting mystery stories we talked about. We made this podcast with special guests and a different kind of topic, Not everyone resists listening to these kind of stories. So we hope you enjoyed it and finish it all. Thank you again, and this is the end of our speaking project.